Oz lifting lever hoists are used worldwide. I'd like to show you how they work. The selector switch here allows you to either raise a load, lower a load, or put it in neutral as it is right now for the quick rigging. Many of these hoists are used for short lifts and tensioning applications. So in the neutral position, this gives us the ability to free spool the chain. Now to lift the load, you'll move the selector switch to the up position, and I'm grabbing a hold of the chain because we need a little bit of a load to get this hoist to operate. And you raise the load by, and you hear that clicking sound. That preload information is found on our website in the download section. There'll be a chart there that'll show you for every capacity what weight you'll need. Now that we've raised the load, we're going to go ahead and lower it, so we'll put it into the neutral position, which, while it's under load, you won't lose the load. The brake is there and holds the load. And snap the selector switch into the lower position and pull back on the lever, and down the load goes. And that's how the Oz hoist works. Some of the other additional features and benefits of the Oz lever hoist, starting with the hook. The hook is an alloy forged steel hook that's designed to progressively open at 3 times the working load limit. But remember, the overload is there, so you'll never really be able to get that hook to the capacity where it would open. The second feature is this stainless steel ID tag. This tag is there for the life of the hoist, and all the technical information, especially one of the most important, is the actual load rating. The load rating information is etched into the stainless, so it too is there for the life of the tag. As we turn the Oz hoist, you can notice that there's a shroud here. This shroud does 2 things. One is it acts like a chain guide, so it allows the chain to spool into the hoist, but it also protects that whole assembly from getting contaminated with debris. Another feature is this little tag here that helps clean any kind of debris that might attach to the chain as it's feeding in. The chain is zinc plated. There's no oil on this chain, and what's nice about that is if this hoist gets thrown onto the ground, what does oil do? It grabs everything that it comes in contact with, and it ends up feeding into the hoist. So the zinc plating is a nice feature. And at the end here, this is an end stop, and this end stop does 2 things. One is it gives the operator something to grab a hold of when the hoist is in the neutral position to pull freely through the hoist. But more importantly, this is load rated, so the event that you have something happen to the hoist and the chain starts to transmit through, this will lock and prevent that from unchaining the hoist. Every Oz hoist is powder coated. All roller bearings are sealed. There's a heavy-duty Weston-style load brake that's covered and can't get contaminated. One last feature is the handle effort. The Oz lever hoist is 30 to 40% less effort than most hoists. The Oz latch is the heaviest in the industry. And you can notice that it's attached to the hook with a bolt and lock nut, not a roll pin. And I include a free set of latch kits with every hoist, so that in the event that you do lose a latch, you can quickly put a new one on and stay in compliance with OSHA. Just some great features of this Oz hoist. The most important feature of the Oz lever hoist from the 3/4 ton to 9 ton capacity is that it comes standard with overload protection. At the factory, the hoists are triple tested at 50% above the rated capacity, and then the overload is set. This is how the overload works. We're demonstrating here in a static load, so it's going to kind of come up to overload pretty quickly. So this is a 1,500 pound capacity, and I've got it in the up position and under tension. So as we're simulating that lift, you hear that clicking sound, and as we're raising a load, and as this load gets above the rated capacity and into the overload, we're going to hear that clicking sound has gone away. So at this point, you can continue to put as much pressure to this hoist, and you're not going to overload it or do any damage to the hoist, the product being moved, or most importantly, yourself. So the benefit of the overload is it takes the guesswork out of what's your weight of the load. If you didn't have overload, what would happen in this same scenario is as you're simulating your lift, at some point you're not going to be able to move the lever, and this is where some people would put a cheater pipe on and get a mechanical advantage and really pull until something bad happens. Usually hooks open up, chain elongates, and that's just not a good situation. So that overload is there to really protect you, the operator, in the event that you guessed wrong at the weight of the load. And the beauty of this overload is now that you've overloaded the hoist, you would put it in the neutral position, and again, you're not going to lose the load because the brake is still there holding the load. Put it into the lower position and go ahead and lower your load and go get a bigger hoist for the job in the event that it transitioned into the overload. The other great feature about this overload is that it never needs to be recalibrated. So now we can go ahead and put this hoist right back into service and it's good to go.